What's everybody? Welcome back to the Grand Torino. Before we get started and before I introduce my next guest on the Grand Torino, I wanted to, if you're new to the show, don't forget, press the like button, press the subscription button and the little bell, and you'll be reminded of future broadcasts here on the Grand Torino. Not going to talk about what's going on here in Dublin, Ireland at the moment. As to say, delighted just to get a broadcast out to you. So I wanted to draw to your attention, and first of all, let me bring in Daddy Dragon, Graham Moore. Graham, how are you, sir?
I am very well, thank you. All the more pleased to see you this morning.
And you, sir, you've got number 45 over there with you at the moment. At the last dinner, President Trump visiting. Huge coming together for him. And that's not being shown on the mainstream media over there, but I believe he was warmly greeted as well.
He was warmly greeted again. There's a video last year of when he went to Windsor, with how much respect people in this country have got for him. The mainstream media, yet again, the propaganda machine, the fake news, are showing the negatives rather than the positives, and the positives is much greater than the negatives. It's the illusion that they're creating.
Yeah, and they've also got the baby blimp out. Yeah, they're going to fly out there from again. He should just embrace it. I love balloons. I love babies. I love baby balloons. Just own it. So look, let's get to the meat and bones of what we're here today for. Fill me in on what's going on, what you're involved with pertaining to Brexit, and that they're just stalling and stalling and stalling.
Right. So just as a quick brief, I'll change this background so everyone can understand exactly what's going on with this case. And that is literally, let me see if I can raise this out of the way. We have got a solicitor called Robin Tilbrook, who, let me just go that way, is Robin Tilbrook. And then what we've got is a situation that Robin warned the government that what they was doing was illegal, against our constitution. And he did that prior to March the 29th, the deadline, basically.
Yeah.
He's put the case forward. He's got two exceptionally good, and this is the bit that will make some people laugh. The first one is a barrister called Francis Hoare. These are all barristers that are connected to Lawyers for Britain in some way. But Francis Hoare was the person or the barrister that got a commendation from the judge when he took a trial to court, and this is relevant to what's going on now. And it was an Islamic mayor of Tower Hamlets who had basically defrauded the electorate, and it was electoral fraud. Someone approached him and said, look, we need help with this because of what's gone on. And he single-handedly run that case for 6 weeks in the High Court, called 100 witnesses, and successfully got the mayor deselected, his election made void, and then there was a prosecution after that.
So the man's got marbles, and he's got a track record, right? So what is he working on there with you guys? Let's get
right. So he is working on this case, and the case is the Brexit leave case. The case is before the Royal Courts of Justice at the moment for judicial review to look at the fact that it was unlawful and that we actually left. So what we've asked the Royal Courts of Justice for is a declaration that the United Kingdom left the European Union on the 29th of March, 2019 at 11 p.m. Now, a number of barristers, a senior law court retired judge have all said, we believe that this is correct.
This is the law.
We did leave.
This is the law. They have to comply with the law.
Right. So part of that case is one of the rulings from someone called Lord Denning. Now, Lord Denning, now sadly deceased, actually said in one of his rulings, he reversed the ruling of an earlier court or a lower court that said that if we had found for the plaintiff in this case, for example, then chaos would ensue. When it got to Lord Denning, he said in his judgment, I'm finding for the plaintiff, and even if chaos ensues, the law must be obeyed, right? So it's the law that's important here, not the politics. The rule of law and the Constitution are above politics. So the case is there. There is a complete and utter media blockade.
Yep, I'm aware of that.
And the massive media blockade is because it is a Remainer propaganda machine that we're up against. And that's one of the purposes of doing these videos, to show people, listen, we've got a nailed-on case. We left on the 29th, and the media are collaborating with the European Union, with the communists, whatever you want to describe them as, to make it that you don't understand. But the importance of this case is simple. The European Union notification, the Withdrawal Act of 2017, repealed the European Communities Act of 1972, which give them power over us. The reason why they're in a panic to get another referendum, which will be the third referendum, not the second.
And I'll draw my viewers and my subscribers and those here. How many referendums have we had in the last 2-3 years? You obviously know, attack after attack, the Children's Act, the marriage right, the divorce, now the abortion. What's next? They just keep pilling away at our inalienable rights, and people are sleepwalking. Go ahead.
Exactly that. So the situation is, and I want people to understand the simplest way of understanding this. Imagine there's a front door, you've got a normal key latch, and you've got a bolt, and that bolt is locking that door. The European Communities Act of 1972 was constitutionally locked in, and that constitutional lock was taken off by the referendum on the 23rd of June 2016, and that act behind me was the one got elevated to the position of constitutional status. That's what they're panicking about, because they know we've left, it's gone, it's over. They would now have to have another referendum telling people the truth about the European Union, its roots, whether it's Nazi or communism. They know that they're not. We've got it. We're not going back in, and that's their panic, and that's why there is a media blockade.
So you're in the processes of doing it. How confident are you of it actually getting to the highest level of jurisprudence before they can actually deliver a verdict? We can see, are they just going to, the powers be just going to snowball and extract it and just keep dragging it out? Just the last couple of minutes here, Graham.
Very confident, because, I mean, just to give you an example, if I can briefly share this document, which is on there at the moment. Hopefully this is going to come up.
Yeah.
This is by a very, 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 very competent Queen's Counsel. 40 years at the bar as a QC and 20 years as a standard barrister. Now, what he has said in this written article and legal opinion, I'm just going to read this out to you. His conclusions are, stating the outcome shortly, it would seem to follow as the application by the Prime Minister for an extension of time until June the 30th under the proviso of the Article 50 made on about the 14th of March was legally valid but rejected by the EU, right? Yeah. Now, what he goes on to say is, whichever way one looks at it, an agreement was either unlawful or made for an unlawful purpose or ultra-vires. That means that UK left the EU on the 29th of March 2019 by default, and there was no valid or lawful impediment to prevent it.
Brilliant.
Right? So it's not just the QC saying this. Judges have said it as well and written the same thing. But again, I want you to see these last two paragraphs. Recently, the EU has imposed a further extension of time on the UK until the 31st of October 2019. This imposition cannot be supported by the terms of Article 50, which seems to have been ignored. Yeah. It is an example of the willingness and of the relevant parties to agree extensions of time without limitations, no doubt based on the notes issued by the civil service.
Oh, yes, the powers that be. We've got the similar situation, yeah.
That
Real control.
Literally the last part of this, I'm going to read this out because this is really important. The irony seems to be that ever since the 29th of March 2019, the United Kingdom has left the European Union without a deal. I need hardly point out that there are consequences for the European election. Now, he's only wrote this on the 3rd of June. What that means is all of the elections that we have just been a part of, all of it is void.
Yeah. Switch that share off there for a second, Daddy. Daddy Dragon.
No,
I just have to call him you Daddy. That was a great truth bomb there, right? So I'm easily tying in with that and speaking of tie-ins and lock-ins. I want to draw my audience here, and maybe your audience. Could you share this on your side to an article over here that the EU seem to be blatantly ignoring over here? Is the Indigenous rights or the UN's agreement 2007 by the General Assembly. I have it up here now. Adopted for General Assembly 13th of September 2007. The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. That applies to us. Because we're, as far as I'm currently aware, we're signed up for the UN. And I want to draw people's articles. I've read through it like that. What I will do, what I'm saying to you guys is I will drop a Google Drive link in the description box down here, and I will drop all the relevant stuff that Graham has just spoken about there as towards the Brexit stuff for you to read through yourself for your own interest, because I know Graham and his legal team are pursuing that through the Supreme Courts now, waiting for the final judgment. I want all the eggheads and the good people out here that read through this and see if this application still sounds true, because we have signed up to this declaration, but I want to draw my audience here to Article 8. And it says, Indigenous peoples and individuals have the right to be not to be subjected to forced assimilation or destruction of their culture. 2, states shall provide effective mechanisms for prevention of and redress for A, any action which has the aim or effect of depriving them of their integrity as distinct peoples, or of their cultural values or ethnic identities. Any action which is the aim or effect of dispossessing them or of their lands, territories, or resources. C, any form of forced population transfer which has the aim or effect of violating or undermining any of their rights. D, any forced or any form of forced assimilation or integration. And E, any form of propaganda designed to promote or incite racial or ethnic discrimination directed against them. Now, I'll leave my good folks and all my good subscribers and the people here, all the patriots here, working hand in hand with all the different groups we have. I believe that this UN pact that we are signed up to, this IN Indigenous Rights, has relevant information that we could prosecute and maybe even tie in, that if it's found in your Supreme Courts that the presidents or the European elections that were held, that you held over there, Graham, are null and void. We had a legal, what I would describe as, and what I'm saying to my viewers is, we had a legal votes, European votes, opened and registered the ballot boxes. We had 3 separate voting placed into the same box. We voted with pencils. We've had voter discrimination. We're currently having a recount in the Dublin or the Ireland South region at a massive expense due to anomalies, due to spoiled votes, due to the transfer of votes. But it's plain for all to see that anybody paying attention over here that they have got control of the ballot and they're making a fiddly mess of it, because they shouldn't have opened the boxes till Sunday when the European count was going through. So not only did they illegally open the votes for the European European Council elections, there's a lot of shenanigans going on is what I'm saying over here. So I want to draw the attention of your audience there as well, and audience here, that we must start paying attention to this. These are the irregularities in the ballot box, and try and get some more transparency and focus on that. Graham, before we sign off, and just to keep the broadcast nice and short and sweet, just anything to say to my viewers there before we sign off, are you keeping an eye on the FISA warrants and the machinations and what's going over with the prosecutions with Adjutant Attorney General Barr?
Yeah, no, I'm keeping an eye on all of that at the moment. My personal belief, and again, it ties into this conversation, is that declass will happen over the next few days. It will show the detailed collaboration between the British government and the Democrats, Obama and the military intelligence on both sides, the corrupt side of it. The only thing big enough to distract the UK population from that is a declaration of the court that we left the European Union. Yeah. So I believe there is a tie-in to this. Yeah. But again, I want people to be aware there's a 10-minute video, the one I supplied there from Trevor Taud, I believe his name is, or Goud. But a 10-minute video, he puts it all together of everyone understanding not just what you just spoke about there, which is electoral fraud, but he shows the whole element of what's going on and who's behind it. So it's a must-watch. 10 minutes, fantastic video.
And just while we're dabbling in on the Q side and paying attention to the FISA warrant and the coming treasonous prosecutions and hopefully the perp walk, but we digress. The deep fake videos that are now surfacing up that we were aware of last year when they were coming up on the channels and already being spoken about. This is them trying to grab the narrative for the future perp walks and the treason trials that, the blessings of God are going to come around, and hopefully soon. And people are only beginning to explore or understand primarily the actors involved: Deep State, Comey, McCabe, all the usual suspects, Brennan, Clapper. They're all going to form, Lynch, all of the Obama administration, and indeed all the way to Obama, because he knew about the illegal service and the illegal emails. And I'm just trying to make new subscribers here to the Gran Torino that aren't paying attention there, that the coming D5 Avalanche Storm, the D5 class, and when it brings in conjunction with the Hammer, which people aren't aware of. Go ahead, Graham.
Yeah, no, the Hammer is key to this. I've just put a video up on my channel, and people need to... It's a 20-minute video, and I've put two videos together of two different interviews, and people will clearly see it. Let me just say this for the Irish audience, yeah? The Clintons are directly involved with corruption of your country. They are directly involved with the Clinton Foundation of undermining your constitution. Trust me. These people are evil.
Perfect, Graham. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us on this short stream. Graham, thanks for joining me and coming in and just giving us an early indicator, an early info drop on what you're dealing with over there. As for us over here, President Trump is landing tomorrow down in Shannon. I believe he's going to spend some time down in this golf course. Maybe see the Taoiseach. We've got demonstrators. We've already had the people, or the prophet before people, communists trying to say, as you did with Sadiq Khan, we don't want Trump here, we don't want President Trump here. Respect the office. Regardless of what you feel about the man, respect the office. And Jeremy Corbyn showed no strength and sign of leadership by trying to null away. Respect the office of the United States of America. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for joining us. Don't forget, press the like button, press the subscription button, and the bell, and you'll be reminded of future broadcasts here in the Gran Torino. Us.